What is up, guys? It is your favorite Otaku Lotus here today, and welcome back to the Nerdcore Nerd Corner. Now, today is the day that I will be answering all the questions that you all left for me on my 500 subscriber announcement video. Now, before we jump into it, I just want to thank you all once again for all of the wonderful support in these last few months, because I really could not be doing what I'm doing without all of your wonderful love and support. I will be announcing who the winner of the giveaway is toward the end of the video, so be sure to stick around and find out if you are the lucky winner of Volume 1 of Death Note. I can tell you now that this video is probably going to be a very long one, and probably my longest video yet. You guys can already see how long it is down there on the little timer, but I don't know how long it is yet. So grab a snack and a cold drink, and ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us begin. So the first question comes to us from DBZ Rob, and he asks, at what point did anime and manga steal your heart? Now, I've literally been watching anime for as long as I can remember, and I know that's a figure of speech, but it really has been for as long as I can remember. Some of the earliest memories I have really are of watching television, and that being said, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. Um, I've I think Dragon Ball Z came to North America in like 1999, and Dragon Ball came in about the year 2000, and I've been watching it and loving it ever since then. So about 16 years is how long ago anime and manga stole my heart. Well, manga didn't come till much later because I've been watching anime, since around that time, but I didn't really get into manga until I started reading Naruto, and that was several years later. So I'll say, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago that I've been keeping up with Naruto, somewhere around there. The next question comes from Archangel Manga, really great guy, by the way. I love his channel. I watch all of his videos. He also does, manga videos, pickup videos, discussions, anime reviews, and things like that. So definitely check him out. Subscribe to him if you haven't already, because he's a great guy. His question is, what inspired you to start making YouTube videos? Well, I wanted to do YouTube videos for years because it seemed like a lot of fun, and I love working with cameras and editing videos and photos and things like that. And some of you already know that I'm a freelance photographer, so I already owned a camera and good equipment, and I was already experienced with editing software. And I used to make videos in the past of random things, and I don't know, it just dawned on me that I wanted to do YouTube videos just because it was fun. It just seemed like a fun thing to do. It was just another hobby that I thought about getting into. The hard part about YouTube, though, was deciding what exactly I wanted to do because I had so many interests. I thought about doing, fashion or sneakers because I really love shoes, anime and manga, of course, and that's eventually what I settled on. And I think it was NZ Anime Manga that really convinced me to do a channel about anime and manga, because the way I found his channel was actually through his manga collection video, because randomly one day I just searched up manga collection on YouTube, and I think his video was the first one to pop up. Automatically, when I clicked on it and I heard that he had an accent, I was intrigued, because anyone with a non-American accent, it just automatically perks my interest. But then to see that he had a manga collection of over 1,000 volumes, I just thought it was really dope. And I was just starting my manga collection around that time. Like, I was just getting into the idea of like, okay, I want to start collecting manga. I want to start buying my favorite series. And yeah, I was starting to buy like a lot of manga and things in general around that time, and I figured, you know what, I should just do videos about all the things that I buy and then talk about it, because it's something that I love and something I think would be fun to do. So shout out to my boy NZ Anime Manga. He's been working really hard at college lately, so he hasn't been uploading nearly as frequently as he used to, but he still has tons of awesome content that you guys can go check out. So I highly recommend taking a look over at his channel. I think I do have it in my featured channels list, and I'll probably leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check him out. And he did actually just upload a video a day or two ago, so yeah, it seems like he's trying to get back into the swing of things. The next question comes from Netaru, and this person asks, what is your top 10 manga list? Now, this may surprise a lot of people, but I have not finished 10 manga series, at least not yet. I mean, I know that I have more than 10 manga series, and considering the sheer size of my pickup videos, you think I had read a lot more. But the thing is, most of the series that I own, I have not started reading yet, because I like to have, if not the entire series before I start reading it, I like to have a large amount. And I have, a decent amount of many of the series I own, but most of them I have not read because I'm waiting to either get more or to complete the series. Like Yu Yu Hakusho, I didn't start reading it until I had all 19 volumes. Rurouni Kenshin I picked up all at once, so I'm reading that now actually, and I'm on volume 15 and I'm loving it. So I've read less than 10 manga series from start to finish at this point, so I can't really give you a top 10, but I will give you a top 5. I hope that's a decent enough consolation. And my top 5 right now, because I've only read a select few, in no particular order, would be Death Note, Dead Man Wonderland, Shaman King, Naruto, and Dragon Ball. pretty good selection, whether you've read more than 10 manga series or not. I don't think anyone can really hate on that list, but I'm sure someone will. But yeah, that's pretty much my answer for that. Next question comes from Manga Madness, and it is, who is your favorite anime/manga villain? Now, this one actually took a lot of thought, because even though there are some pretty cool villains in anime and manga, I never really had a favorite. But if I had to pick, I think it would definitely be Hao Sakura from Shaman King, because I just always thought that Hao, or Zeke as they call him in the English dub of the anime, I always thought Hao was a really cool character. I loved his character design. I really, really loved his character design. The long hair, the clothing, the stars. He controls fire and the fire spirit. I thought everything about him was really dope. I loved his attitude, his personality. He might have seemed like a jerk to a lot of people, but I literally thought he was the epitome of cool, and I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to be like him and Yo, because Hao and Yo, they're very similar but very different in certain aspects, and I just thought they were two really likable characters that I aspired to be like when I was younger. So yeah, if I had to pick any anime or manga villain to be my favorite, it'd probably be Hao. And not to say he was the best villain, but just the one I liked the most personally. Next question comes from somebody by the name of Rave NBF. Now there's a 4, 3, and a 1 somewhere in there, but I'm just going to assume that you're supposed to pronounce those as if they're letters. So Rave NBF, and their question is, what is your favorite anime and your favorite manga? Well, my favorite anime of all time, some of you already know, is Fooly Cooly. I love Fooly Cooly to death. It is hands down my favorite. My favorite manga, right now, it's Dead Man Wonderland, but like I said, I'm currently reading Rurouni Kenshin, and I'm just blown away by how good Rurouni Kenshin is. Like, I loved the anime when I was younger, and I haven't seen it in a long time, but I'm enjoying every single moment of Rurouni Kenshin, and it's easily going to make it into my top 5 once I finish it, and it will probably be my number 1 by the time I'm finished reading it. So, can't wait to finish reading that, because it's really awesome, and I know for sure it's going to be one of my favorites. Next question is, how did you get into anime/manga and the most embarrassing moment in your life? And both of these questions come from the Epic guys. How did I get into anime and manga? Well, I kind of already answered that. I got into anime by watching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z on TV back in like the year 2000. And the most embarrassing moment in your life? Now, I gotta be honest, like, I'm not trying to front or anything like that or put on any type of facade, but I don't really ever get embarrassed. So I really tried hard to think of an embarrassing moment in my life, but I don't really have one. But what I'll give you guys instead is as a story. It's not really an embarrassing story, but kind of just an incident that happened at school that I figured it's better than nothing. So when I was in the 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade, I can't really remember, 7th or 8th grade, I was sitting in my social studies class, and this is about 10 minutes before the bell rings and school is over. It's my last class of the day, and a poster falls off the wall in the room. I volunteered to go fix it, so I kind of jog over to the other side of the room because that's where it was, and I go to hop up on the counter, and I kind of hit my leg on the way up because I slipped on a sheet of paper that was on the floor. And everyone kind of laughed, I laughed too. It was kind of funny, haha, I slipped. It was no big deal. But like I said, on the way up the counter, my leg kind of bashed into the counter, and it hurt just a little bit, but it was no worse than, bumping into a desk or something. It wasn't anything serious. Like, it wasn't, I didn't think it was as bad as it actually turned out to be. So I fixed the poster, I put it back up on the wall, and when I turn around and I look down before I jump down off the counter, there's blood everywhere. I was wearing a pair of all white canvas sneakers, Super Sky Tops back in the day. I used to skate in middle school, so I really loved Supras and Lakayas and SBs and things like that. But yeah, I had on my all white Super Sky Tops, my Chad Muskas, and there was blood splattered all over them. My white socks were soaked in blood. There was blood all over the textbooks, all over the counter, all over a couple of desks. It was terrible. And I looked down at my leg, and it sliced right open to the bone. You can see the bone, you can see the blood and the flesh, and it was. I know this is kind of graphic, so I'm sorry if I'm disgusting anyone or anyone. Their stomach kind of turned a little bit, but that was just a freak accident. And the weirdest part was, like, I didn't even realize it until I saw the blood. Like, it didn't hurt, like, really at all. Like, there was pain, but it wasn't the type of pain that, like, bothered me. It was like more than. I mean, it was something that I dealt with without even really thinking about it. But when I looked down and saw the blood, I was like, yo, I'm like, Miss Snyder, because that was my teacher's name, Miss Snyder, I'm bleeding. And she's like, well, go to the bathroom and wash it off. I'm like, nah, I don't think you understand. And I jumped down, and she's like, oh my God. And she sees all the blood. Everyone in the classroom freaks out. A couple of kids run out of the room screaming, and some other ones run to the other side of the room. And I'm kind of like laughing it off, kind of like, like not really paying any attention, because it didn't hurt. But the more I thought about it, and the more blood I was seeing, and the more blood I was losing, because I was obviously bleeding continuously as this was happening, I was kind of starting to get dizzy. And I just remember everyone telling me to keep my head up, keep my eyes open, and them wrapping up the wound and cleaning up all the blood, and sitting in the nurse's office waiting for someone to come pick me up to take me to the hospital or to the emergency room to get stitches. And yeah, it was a really crazy day that day. So I don't really have an embarrassing moment, but hopefully that was another consolation. That was a decent enough story. Next question comes from Agnes Williams, and it says, "What made you such an otaku?" And I just always really love Asian culture, Japanese culture in specific, and I've never been ashamed to be myself and really care about the things I love and be passionate about the things I love and tell other people about it. Now, that's not to say that I go mouthing off like, "Hey, yo, guys, I love anime. I have a sword and all these manga books and things like that." But if anyone asks about it or it comes up, I'll talk about it openly. Like, I'm not ashamed of it. And I've always been kind of a nerd anyway, but it's not something that ever really bothered me, and the opinions of other people has never bothered me. So it's just always been this thing where, like, I am who I am and I'm perfectly okay with it. So having been so engaged and intrigued by Japanese culture, I always really was attracted to ninjas and samurais way more than like superheroes or anything like that. Like, I always loved Dragon Ball and Rurouni Kenshin and Yu Yu Hakusho way more than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or G.I. Joe or Power Rangers or anything like that. Like, I always liked it way more than anything else like other kids were into back in the day, way more than like Western stuff. So yeah, that's kind of that answer. Next question comes from Otaku Joe, and it says, "What's an anime/manga series that you've gotten into recently that you would recommend?" Rurouni Kenshin, definitely. Like I said, I'm on volume 15 right now, and I'm probably going to bring up Rurouni Kenshin a few times throughout this Q&A. But I'm reading Rurouni Kenshin, and it really is just amazing. I love it. I love the art. I love the story. I love the characters. Kenshin as a boss. Sanosuke is pretty cool. Yahiko has his moments. Kaoru has her moments. It's a really well-told story, a really well-drawn story, and I highly recommend it to anybody. Especially if you're into, like, older 90s shonen. Next question comes from Guilty Otaku 83, and their question is, "What two manga characters would you love to see battle it out?" Now, I had to think long and hard about this one as well. A lot of these questions were really tough to answer. They required a lot of thought. But if I had to pick two manga characters, I think I would go with Mugen from the Samurai Champloo manga. And there is a Samurai Champloo manga for those who don't know. 2 volumes. I own it. I've read it. It's pretty good. But Mugen from Samurai Champloo and Kenshin from Rurouni Kenshin. They're both samurai. Kenshin's a lot like Jin, but I think Kenshin's more skilled. And I think Kenshin would win against both of them, whether it was Jin or Mugen. But I think a fight between Mugen and Jin would just be really, really cool to see. Because Mugen's all stylish and unorthodox, and he's kind of like hip-hop with it. He's got a Champloo style. He's got a very mixed style of martial arts and swordsmanship. Whereas Kenshin is very disciplined, very cool, calm, and collected, very intelligent. And I just think it would be really great to see. Because we've seen fights between Mugen and Jin, and I think Kenshin would be just like Jin, but even more skilled and more talented. And I think it would make for a really great fight. But I do think that Kenshin would win in the end. The next question comes from my boy Jordan, aka a kid named Jake, or Jock. I forget how he pronounces it because he's changed his name for like the 3rd or 4th time now. It was like just trying to chill, and then it was like J-Cubes, but his name's Jordan. He's a really cool guy as well. He makes videos, and he is passionate about what he's doing, and he does his best to put out the best quality content that he can. So I do recommend checking out his channel as well. I'll leave the link to his channel also in the description below, because I do recommend checking it out and supporting him, because he's a small channel. He's just now starting out, but I definitely mess with his content, and I think you guys would like it too. But his question was, what do you believe is absolutely essential to producing great content? Now, there are several answers that I could give for this question, and a lot of people might think that, oh, you have to be talented in this or skilled in this, or you have to have a good camera or a great microphone or amazing editing skills and things like that. And those are all great to have, but I think one of the most important things and something that's absolutely essential is to be passionate about whatever it is you're making content about. Because if you care, other people will care. And if they care already and you care as well, they'll really connect with you, and they'll really like what you're doing, and they'll get invested into what you yourself are invested into. Like, nobody wants to listen to something talk about something they don't even like talking about, or something they don't know what they're talking about. Nobody likes ignorance. Nobody likes a lack of passion. So it's really just about being passionate, and being knowledgeable helps a lot as well. Now, I'm not saying you have to be the most informed or most knowledgeable person, but just do your best not to spread ignorance, not to spread misinformation, and just love what you're doing. Have fun with it. Having fun, being passionate, being knowledgeable about what you're talking about, those are key qualities, key traits, key concepts to keep in mind and to have and to put into your content. And I feel like that's something that you should really focus on, and those are essential to making great quality videos. So the next question comes from McCarlness, I believe is how you pronounce it, and it says, which series that has not been published in the US yet are you hoping gets an English release and / or are looking forward to the most? Now, there is no series in particular that I know is on the way to getting translated or anything like that, but if I had to name a couple of series, I'd love to see Shaman King Flowers get released in English, because I like Shaman King, and I'd love to be able to read and own Shaman King Flowers. Anohana, because I love the Anohana anime, and I've seen the Japanese volumes, and they look beautiful. I love the artwork, I love the covers, and I'm probably going to end up buying those off eBay or something just to have them in the collection. Oh, I would also love to see Viz Media do a full English release physically for Hitman Reborn and Future Diary, because they own the rights to Future Diary, but they haven't released it physically, only digitally. And they put out like the first 16 volumes of Reborn, but I guess it wasn't selling well enough, so they canceled it. Well, I personally want to own both volumes, both series in their completion, because Tokyo Pop never finished Future Diary, Viz Media never finished Reborn, and I'd really love to own both of those series. So even though those have gotten an English release, sort of, it wasn't completed, and I'd love to see both of them get completed. The next question comes from Alan Suleiman, and his question is, who are your favorite YouTubers? Well, I watch a wide variety of YouTubers. I have tons of different channels that I love to watch. I like photography channels like Jared Poland, Serge Ramelli, Digital Rev TV, Anthony Morganti. I learn a lot from those guys, plus they're kind of just entertaining to watch. NZ Anime Manga, of course, highly recommend him because he's one of the reasons for this channel. Rhyme Style, Quaman, Geekdom 101, all those guys who do Dragon Ball related videos. C-Reacts, the guy who does Dragon Ball pranks, and also as well as super reviews and other content, sometimes with the other fellow Dragon Ball tubers. Team 4-Star, of course, because anyone who loves Dragon Ball, you have to watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Immortalium and Archangel Manga, they're both really great YouTubers, very knowledgeable on older series as well, historical manga. I love watching Mark Curley draw. I love his Q&A videos. I love his drawing videos because I used to draw a lot, and I used to watch a lot of his tutorials and different videos and things like that. I think he's a fantastic artist, and plus he's just entertaining to listen to and watch as he draws. I love watching S.Storms HD, Sheikah's Clouds, Afro Senju, love all their Storm videos. Tekken 101, even though I don't really follow Bleach, any of the other videos he does, anime related videos, I love doing those, or watching those rather. His live streams are fun. Arcada over at Glass Reflections. I like his reviews. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. All depends what kind of mood I'm in, because he goes really in depth with them. And sometimes that's what I want, sometimes it isn't. But if you do love, really well put together, in depth, scripted reviews, Arcada over at Glass Reflections is a fantastic reviewer for something like that. If you want something that's a lot more simple, heart to heart, more like someone having a conversation with you, but someone who's very genuine, knowledgeable about what they're talking about, and loves anime, I highly recommend my boy Blade Ninja. He does fantastic anime reviews. I love watching his videos, listening to his videos. They're very simple, but they're well put together. They're well done. So yeah, other anime reviews I like. Some smaller time YouTubers are like the homegirl Simply Rose, Brago Diaz, my boy Jordan, like I said. There's a lot of small channels that I do love to support. A couple of new people who I've been watching, the homie SSO Senpai Reviews, or SOO Senpai Reviews, or maybe you pronounce it Sue or so, I'm not really sure. I haven't heard him say it, I don't think, and I haven't asked. And then there's another fellow who I've recently discovered named The Driver, who's very charming. I like watching his videos as well. So yeah, I watch tons of different YouTubers, but those are a lot of the ones that just come to mind right off the top of the head. Next question comes from my boy Shadow Kai, and he says, if you had one manga to read for the rest of your life, what would it be? Now, I'd love to pick something else, but I can't really pick something else because I don't know if I would enjoy anything else that I pick, but I want to pick a long series so that it's not me reading the same short amount of material over and over again. So I gotta go with Naruto because it's 72 volumes, plus even more if you count any of the spin-off or side story content or anything like that. And I love the story of Naruto. I love the series. I followed it for many, many years, and I loved every single part of it, even though a lot of people got sick of it near the end. I didn't. I thoroughly enjoyed it all the way through. And it gives me plenty of content to read throughout the rest of my life. So if I had to pick one, it'd be Naruto. I'd love to say, One Piece, but I don't really like One Piece, and I'm prepared to get crucified in the comments for that. I heard Hajime no Ippo's pretty good, and I think that's like over 100 volumes long, or maybe I'm mistaking it with something else, but I think Hajime no Ippo has like over 100 volumes of manga. So yeah, I'd love to read a very long series, but the only one that I know for sure that I would like to read continuously would be Naruto. The next question comes from Blade Ninja, and he asks, what got you into photography, and what anime character is most like you? Now, what got me into photography is, as I've said numerous times on the channel, I'm just really fond of things, the way they look, things that look cool, aesthetics, art, and stuff like that. So I discovered around the time that I was really getting heavy into like buying a lot of shoes, I found out what made me like the shoes so much, what made me want them so much, was the pictures of them. It was because I could see, a stock photo of an image and be like, they're okay, I don't really need them in my life. But then I'll see a picture someone else took of like them wearing them, or like a really high quality, high resolution photo, or a really good looking photo with good lighting and things. And it would make me like go like, yo, those are sick, yo, I really need those. I love the way those look on feet. I love the way those look on in a picture. And then I got into taking pictures myself just for fun, like I remember when Instagram came around in like 2011 or 2012, when I started using that, like I started to realize that I like taking pictures of just random things that I owned, like my video games, my different amounts of cologne bottles, because I like designer cologne, so they have a lot of unique bottles. And then slowly but surely I just realized that I like taking pictures, and I like trying to take the coolest looking pictures that I possibly could. So it just turned into something that I was passionate about, and something that I got more and more interested and skilled in. So, and that's how that worked out. I eventually started saving up money for a camera, but I ended up blowing that money on sneakers. Then I was gifted a camera for my birthday in 2012. Used that for about a year, upgraded to an actual DSLR camera, something a little more professional, kind of an entry-level DSLR, getting into the professional range. And then eventually I upgraded from that to what I'm using now, even though I'm ready to upgrade again by this point. And right now I'm using a Nikon D7000, and it still works well for photography. It's not so great for video, but I get by with it. But yeah, that's pretty much that. As for what anime characters most like me, this was another question that was really hard to answer, because it's kind of hard to relate yourself to an anime character, because so many of them are so outlandish or supernatural, or so unlike actual people. But if I had to pick, it would probably be Yo Asakura from Shaman King, because he's an extremely laid-back character. And if there's one thing that I get told a lot in real life, is that I'm really chill, really laid back, and really carefree most of the time. Like, I do get really, really hype. Like, when I get hype, I get hype. I have my moments. I think we all do. I get turned sometimes. But for the most part, I'm a really relaxed and carefree dude who doesn't really let much of anything get to him. So I think I'd definitely be a lot like Yo Asakura. Plus, I think in the anime, in the English version of the anime, it definitely wasn't in the manga, but in the English version of the anime, I think he really loved hamburgers, and I love hamburgers too. So Yo Asakura is probably the character who's most like me. The next question comes from Lavu or Lavux. I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to pronounce it, but his question is, what is your favorite anime/manga based video game? Now, considering that the majority of the games that I play are anime/manga based, it's kind of hard to pick just one, because that's almost exclusively what I play is anime/manga related video games, like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z and Digimon and One Piece and stuff. Well, I don't own any One Piece games, but I've played some. So I can't really pick one, but if I had to name a few, it'd definitely be Storm 4, because that's currently my favorite Naruto game. I love Dragon Ball Xenoverse and Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Those are my favorite Dragon Ball games. I love Digimon World 3 and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. I've put over 100 hours into both of those games. They're both fantastic games. I love them a lot. I love all the Pokemon games, even though really Pokemon isn't anime or manga based. The anime and manga are based off the games, but still, I'll count it as that. And if anyone's wondering what my favorite Pokemon game is, it'd definitely be Pokemon Yellow or any 3 from Generation 2, because I love Gold, Silver, and Crystal all the same. Next question comes from John Martinez, and this question is, do you have a job? I'm a freelance photographer, so yeah, I guess you can count that out as my job. But I don't really look at it as a job, because it's something that I have fun with. It's something that I don't only do to make money, but something I do in my spare time as well. Like, it's something that I'm very passionate about and I have a lot of fun with. His next question is, what are your other hobbies besides collecting manga and anime? Well, photography, once again. I love music, so I'm always researching different types of music. I love writing reviews for things. I love writing in general. I used to write a lot of poetry and a lot of short stories. I loved writing essays in school. I know that sounds strange, but I love that. I used to love taking notes, because I just enjoyed the physical act of writing, and I love typing. So a little strange, but those are a few of my favorite hobbies. The next question comes from Van Maru, and her question is, how many anime or comic conventions have you been to? And what's one quote that you tell people to motivate them? Well, I've actually never been to a single anime or comic related convention, like ever. I've been to sneaker conventions and other types of conventions, but I've never been to an anime convention. But I do hope to go to some this year. The plan is to go to at least 2. I have my eyes on a local one, as well as Comic-Con New York, so hopefully I can make that happen. And what's one quote you tell people to motivate them? This quote comes from Fooly Cooly, and it's, nothing can happen until you swing the bat. Now, before I explain that, I just want to say that I don't generally use anime quotes in day-to-day life. Like, there are a few that I have used on certain occasions, but I kind of think it's kind of corny, kind of cheesy, kind of lame, honestly, to like quote anime in real life in a real world situation. Even though a lot of them can be really deep and profound and intelligent, it's just not something I'm really fond of doing. But I have used that quote once or twice, maybe as like, kind of like, not in a serious manner, but kind of just like off the cuff type, like almost a joking manner, but kind of serious. And that's nothing can happen to you swing the bat from Fully Cooley. Now this was said by Haruko Harahara to Naoto, and the way I interpret that is nothing will happen unless you make it happen. Like, you can't sit around waiting for things to happen. You got to be a go-getter. You gotta have initiative. You gotta make things happen. You have to swing the bat. You'll never hit the ball if you don't swing the bat. You'll never make the basket if you don't shoot the shot. So it's just like, unless you do it, it's not going to get done. So nothing can happen until you swing the bat. Next question comes from Joshua with like 5 or 6 A's, and it says, what manga would you recommend? Again, my manga knowledge is surprisingly limited, but I definitely recommend Deadman Wonderland if you're new to manga, because it's really great. Maybe not so much if you're not into violence and blood. Rurouni Kenshin, but again, if you're not into violence and blood, I don't recommend it because it does get kind of intense sometimes. Naruto and Dragon Ball are definitely great beginner manga, or great manga in general, regardless of who you are. They might seem typical by today's standards, but considering they were started so long ago, they really are the reasons for so many, certain tropes and stereotypical things that we see in anime and manga today. So Dragon Ball is a classic that I think anybody and everybody who is a manga fan should read. The first 16 volumes. I know Dragon Ball is just Dragon Ball. In Japan, it's 1 through 42, but here in America, it's split up 16 and 26. But the first 16 volumes of Dragon Ball, classic, love it. Highly recommend anybody reads it. Next question comes from my boy Brago Diaz. Yo, Brago, back like we never left. And his question is top 5 waifu. Now, this question's kind of tough to answer because I don't really get into the whole waifu thing. I don't think I've ever even said that word in my life until this point. And it's really tough and tricky to answer because so many anime characters are underaged, and I'm not going to sit here and sexualize little girls. Like, I hate lolis, and I just don't get down with the whole underage thing. And I don't really look at anime characters, well, female ones in particular, in terms of their attractiveness. It's more of like their personalities and their character designs. But if I really had to pick, I do have a few that I could think of. Sayako from High School of the Dead, because I know for a fact she's 18 and she's bad as hell. So I can't front. Like, I love her voice. It's very alluring, that low and slow. I really dig that. Plus, she's awesome with a sword. So, like, how can you not like a badass female samurai? I just think that's really dope. Hinata Hyuga from Naruto, because Hinata is my favorite female character. I was really happy that Naruto ended up with her because she's always been my favorite female character in Naruto. Iwasawa from Angel Beats, because I think she's supposed to be like 17 or 18 years old, and I love her voice. I love her singing. She was my favorite character in Angel Beats. I love all the music in Angel Beats, so it's one of the biggest reasons why I enjoy that series. And my song, the song's name is called My Song, for those who don't know. My Song is one of my favorite songs of all time, and definitely my favorite song in Angel Beats, and I play that song all the time. It's just a beautiful song, and I love it. I would say Shiro from Deadman Wonderland, but different sources I've seen said she can be anywhere from 15 to 17. In my mind, I would like to believe that she's 17 so that I could be okay with saying she's my waifu, but if she's 15, 16, I can't really get down with that. But if she's 17, I can get by with that. 17 going on 18, I can rock with that. Then we have Icarus from Heaven's Lost Property, because who knows how old Icarus is. I'd imagine Icarus is actually probably like hundreds or thousands of years old, but has the appearance of a teenager. So I can rock with that. I can get down with that. I think Icarus was like really adorable, or just a really cute character, and I just love her personality, and she was very funny, and she was definitely my favorite of the, I forget what they were called, Angeloids? I think they were called Angeloids in Heaven's Lost Property, and she was my favorite out of all of them, so definitely Icarus from Heaven's Lost Property. And I'll throw in Mizure, even though that would make this 6, because she'd probably be my substitute for Shiro, but then again, Mizure might be young too. She might be like 15, 16. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it anyway. Mizure Shirayuki from Rosario Vampire, because she was my favorite out of the girls in that series. I like Mocha too, but I kind of like Mizure just a little bit more. I haven't read the manga, but I have seen the anime. I thought it was hilarious. I like harem and ecchi anime, if you guys didn't know. As you probably can tell though from Heaven's Lost Property and High School of the Dead, and now I'm saying Rosario Vampire. I like ecchi and harem because I think they're funny. I have a really raunchy and kind of vulgar sense of humor sometimes. Well, a lot of the time actually, and so I just find them really funny and entertaining to watch. But yeah, those would be my top 5/top 6. Like I said, kind of hard question to answer because I haven't seen a ton of anime. Like I've seen a lot, but less than 100. So it's kind of hard to pick, my top 5 waifu because so many of them are so young. Plus, I don't really generally look at anime characters in terms of like, their attractiveness. It's more about how much do I like their character design in terms of how cool do they look, or, just how well was it done, and more about their personality. Next question comes from So Awesome Sauce, and his question is, when are you getting the FMA box set, and what are your top 5 manga recommendations? And the answer is soon, bro. Soon. I'll probably get it by the end of the year, but considering there's still 8 months left in the year, I don't know. Like, I want to get it. I'm going to get it because I do want to read Full Metal Alchemist. It's just not a priority right now, but I will get that box set eventually. Trust me on that. I will get it. It'll probably be by the end of the year. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right. As for my top 5 manga recommendations, I kind of already said that, but I'll say it again anyway. It was Dead Man Wonderland, Death Note, Shaman King, Dragon Ball, and Naruto. Next question comes from Eddie Nicolai, or Nicoli. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce their last name. Nicolae. And their question is, what do you like more, Pokemon or Digimon? Now, this is a really tough question because if you would ask me even last year, I would have said Pokemon with no hesitation. But having played so much Digimon World 3 and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth over the course of the past month or so, it's really hard to answer because I always liked Digimon, but I've grown to really love Digimon. But I think just for sentiment's sake, nostalgia's sake, and for the fact that I grew up alongside Pokemon more so than Digimon, and I've always had, special attachment to the series, I'm going to give it to Pokemon and say I like that more. But Digimon is the superior series, I gotta say. The games are better, they're more mature, and so is the anime. But I was always more into Pokemon growing up. I have more attachment to it, so I'm going to go with Pokemon. But I do love Digimon a lot, now more than I ever did when I was younger. Next question comes from Eric Torres, and he says, what is your favorite winter anime? Now, I'm not usually a seasonal anime watcher. Some of you may or may not know that. Like, I'm doing a couple of seasonal anime reviews this year. I'm doing weekly reviews of My Hero Academia and Twin Star Exorcist, but that's the first time I've ever done this. Now, I did watch Noragami, and that was like a winter 2013 anime. I wasn't aware of it at the time. Like, I think it was already close to being finished when I started it, and it was already finished by the time I was watching it and caught up to it. Like, I started watching it while it was still going, but by the time I got to the point where it wasn't finished yet, it was finished. So I guess that would be my favorite because that's the only like winter anime that I've seen like in the past few years, and it's the only one I know that was like a winter seasonal anime. And next question is, what is your favorite Pokemon? Also from Eric Torres. And Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil is my favorite Pokemon. Generation 2 is my favorite generation. Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal were my favorite games, and Cyndaquil is my favorite starter, so Cyndaquil. Next question is, what series made you a fan of manga, and what made you want to read more? And this comes from Punkhead, another channel he's a small-time YouTuber who's just starting out, but is a very humble guy, and I do like his videos as well. And Naruto is what got me into manga, and it's what opened up this whole new world of Japanese comics to me. What is the best story arc you have read in a manga? Probably the first parts of Death Note. I don't know if you really can split up Death Note into arcs. Like, I guess you could. Kind of like the L arc, the Nier arc. I don't know. I would just say the first half of Death Note is probably the best story I've ever read in manga because I love Death Note. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome all the way through. It's amazing all the way through. It's a 10 out of 10 for me from start to finish. But the first half was definitely superior to the second half. Like, I can't deny that. So I'll say like the first 6 volumes of Death Note are probably like the best part of the series and the best arc I have read in manga. However, maybe it's in contention with the manga that comes before the Kyoto arc in Rurouni Kenshin because Rurouni Kenshin's amazing and I really, really enjoyed reading that. Probably almost as much as I enjoyed reading Death Note. So it's quite up there. So maybe a tie between those two. Maybe Death Note has a slight edge, but definitely those are my top 2 arcs. And what anime do you think adapted the manga the best? Yu Yu Hakusho, because I just recently read the Yu Yu Hakusho manga. I just finished it maybe like a week or 2 ago, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and the anime stayed pretty true to the manga. It's pretty loyal. It's a pretty loyal adaptation, and I actually like the anime more than I enjoyed the manga, and that's rare. I usually always prefer the manga over the anime. Like, I love both, but I always tend to find that the manga tells the story better. Of course it would, because it's the original content, it's the source material. but I think Yu Yu Hakusho was an excellent adaptation of the manga. For the most part, it was pretty loyal, it stayed pretty true, and I actually liked it more. So yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho was definitely the best for me, at least as of now. Next question comes from Caleb Nemo, and he says, if you could see any anime or manga get a game, what would it be? I'm not a huge fan of Fairy Tail. I do like Fairy Tail, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think a Fairy Tail video game would be really cool. Now, what I have in mind is, think of the Naruto Storm games, but replace all the Naruto characters with Fairy Tail characters. I think that could work out excellent. I would love to see that. Very similar thing with Hunter x Hunter. I think that could work out really cool. I have not read or watched Hunter x Hunter. I know, I gotta do it. I need to get into it. Takashi's back, so I really need to hop on the bandwagon. But I think a Hunter x Hunter or a Fairy Tail game styled like a Naruto game would be really, really cool. I would love to see both Yu Yu Hakusho and Shaman King get brand new games that are loyal adaptations of the actual story to the manga or the anime, because I have Shaman King Power of Spirit for the PS2. Loved that game back in the day. And just thinking about it actually kind of makes me want to go back and play it again. It's a great game, and I would love to see a game exactly like that, but new and improved as far as graphics and controls. But that actually follows the story of the manga or the anime. They're pretty similar, but yeah. Because even though that story was good, it was an original story, and I liked it, but not as much as the actual story for Shaman King. The same goes for Yu Yu Hakusho. I think we've got, well, I don't think we ever got like a PS2 game for Yu Yu Hakusho in America. I know they did in Japan. I don't know anything about it, but I'd love to see like a new Yu Yu Hakusho game for like PS4, but I don't think we'll ever see either of those. But a guy can dream, can he? Next question comes from Maxis. Which Pokemon starter would you bring to life? Cyndaquil, of course, without a doubt. Goes without saying. Cyndaquil is my favorite Pokemon, so it would definitely be Cyndaquil. I love Quilava and Typhlosion as well. Actually, in the evolutionary chain, let me just say this real quick. Typhlosion is my least favorite Pokemon in that chain. I like Quilava the second most, Cyndaquil the best, and Typhlosion the least. So there have been often times where I've been playing through Pokemon, and I'll keep my Cyndaquil or my Quilava as a Cyndaquil or Quilava and level it up to level 100 without evolving it into Typhlosion. Now, it's not something I've always done. It's just something I've done a couple of times in the past. A couple more questions before we get out of here, and that is, what inspired you to start collecting manga? And this comes from Andy, aka Andromeda Reads. It is honestly just a thought I had one day, because I had Volume 1 of Naruto and Volume 1 of Dragon Ball, and I bought those because I thought to myself one day, it's like, damn, I've been in love with these series for pretty much my entire life, and it's the very least I can do to purchase both of these volumes just to support the original creators, just even if it the tiniest fraction, just to give back to the community, just a tiny bit. Plus, I just want to own them because I love this series. I'm a fan, and it's just something I want to own. And then from there, it kind of just spiraled out of control, because next thing I knew, I was like, okay, now I want to own all of Dragon Ball. So I ended up buying all the volumes of Dragon Ball, and I had a couple of other volumes of manga, just like volume 1s of a couple of series whose anime I had seen, and I bought the volumes just because I thought they'd be cool to have. But yeah, I ended up buying all of Dragon Ball. I got into Shaman King and Yu Yu Hakusho and Dead Man Wonderland. Dead Man Wonderland was actually another one of the first manga series that I bought. And yeah, it started from there. It just started literally with the thought of, I want to give back to the original creators. I want to give back to Akira Toriyama and Masashi Kishimoto for basically giving me such a huge part of my life. Like, I'd be a completely different person without them. Like, I don't know who or where I would be without Naruto and Dragon Ball. So it was just something I needed in my life, and something that I felt like I should do. And then I got into the whole sustain the industry thing because of NZ anime manga, and it just started from there. And I'm perfectly happy with where I ended up. It's been 6 months, and I have a collection of over 200 volumes. I think I'm around 250 right now. And the very last question is from X Horrify, and his question is, have you ever gone to a convention, or are you planning to go to any this year? Now, I kind of already answered this, but no, I have not ever been to an anime convention, but I do want to go to this local convention that is happening next month, and I want to go to Comic-Con in New York this year, because I've always wanted to go to Comic-Con. It just seems like something that was really cool. It was something I could never afford to do because I don't live in New York, and so traveling expenses and lodging would be really expensive, as well as the passes and tickets themselves. But I think I can make it happen this year. So yeah. So that is it, guys. That is every question that I received, and I answered all of them to the best of my ability. So I hope you're all satisfied with the answers I gave, and I'm sorry if I let you down or butchered any names, but I really did do my best. I highly doubt that anyone actually sat through the entire video, but I do want to thank everyone for watching. And if you have actually made it this far without skipping ahead in the video, I'm honestly shocked and amazed. And if you did, I want to thank you 1,000 times and leave hashtag Lotus in the comments section. So let's see how many people actually will see this part of the video and put hashtag Lotus in the comments section. And now that the Q&A is over, it is time for the moment that you've all been waiting for. It's time to find out who the lucky winner of the giveaway is and who will be receiving Volume 1 of Death Note. So let's jump straight into it. So I have my channel page opened up, and all I'm doing is going to copy the link address from the 500 subscriber special announcement video, and I'm going to paste it in randomcommentpicker.com in order to get our winner. So what it's going to do now is load all of the comments that you guys left on that video, and once I click on randomly pick winner, we will find out who the lucky contestant is that will be receiving Volume 1 of Death Note, courtesy of your boy. And the winner is Kid Named Jack, aka the homie Jordan. So congratulations, man. You've actually been supporting the channel for a minute now, and I really appreciate it. So it's pretty cool to see a longtime supporter of the channel actually win. I definitely recommend checking out his channel if you haven't already, because he's doing his best and he loves what he's doing, and I mess with his channel and you should too. So the link to his channel is probably in the description down below. But congratulations, man. I'll contact you soon if I haven't already by the time this video is up, and we will get you your prize as soon as possible. So that is it, guys. This has definitely been one hell of a video to make. Tons of talking, tons of editing. I'm sure this video is going to take like 7 or 8 hours to render and another hour or 2 to upload to YouTube, but it's been fun. Hopefully somebody out there enjoyed it. Maybe 1 or 2 of you actually watched the entire video all the way through. I'd definitely be really amazed and surprised. But if you did like this video, be sure to hit it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you guys can stay tuned for all the awesome content I plan on bringing you guys. And if you did not win this giveaway, don't be upset, don't worry, because there will be more giveaways in the future. That much I can promise you. I can't say when the next one will be, but there will be more. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I have for today. So with all that being said, I will catch you all next time. Later.